Hey everyone, I'm Tony from the Handlebar Workshops, and today we're in the foyer area. We're out here because I need to work on these stairs. Now I don't know what building codes were like in the 1960s when this house was originally built and probably when these stairs were built, but as compared to now, they're probably not up to code. So to redo them properly, it would be best to just completely rip them out and replace them with something else. But you know, the bank account says I can't do that right now, so I got to do what I can to make these a bit safer than what they are. Let me show you some of the problems that we're having. Well, the most obvious issue would be that there's no risers here. And you can just see right through the stairs. And that's a little scary, and a leg might slip through here or something. I won't be taking care of that completely by putting something up here, but I will be putting something here because of another problem that we're having. Another issue that we're having is that they're not exactly sturdy. They make a lot of noise when you walk on them, and they kind of sag a bit in the middle when you step in the center. Now these have held up for quite a while, but they do need some way of supporting them. And these uprights support the handrails. So as you're going up and down the stairs using the handrails, these move around, and it's kind of scary when they do that. And they're tearing up the ceiling. We're getting drafts here in the wintertime because this is the attic right up here. For the sake of complete transparency, and because I think YouTube requires me to state this, Saker sent this contour gauge out to me free of charge, not for review or anything. They just wanted to see it being used in a video because they like my video content. I'll be using it on these uprights here where they meet the ceiling, so I get an exact shape of this upright. It's kind of curved on one side and flat over here. So I'll be able to do it from one side and then the other. And once I get the shape, there's a little switch on the side. It locks it into place. And now that doesn't go anywhere. If you're interested in picking one of these up for yourself, there's a link down below in the description. So to start with the bracers that go under the stairs, I've milled up some pieces of wood, red oak in this case, to match what's already there. I've marked the centers, and I've already added the pocket holes at each end so I can screw into the sides. We've got two different sizes, one for above the landing and one for below the landing. And I've also made some templates out of MDF that match the different sizes here. The templates have a little cleat on the back, so all I have to do is hook it on the top of the support here, line up the centers, and then I can mark my cut line here. And then once I cut these out on the bandsaw, I can use the templates as a guide for a router bit to flush trim everything to the size of my templates here. I'm using screws to screw the templates onto the supports. They do leave little holes in them, but you'll never be able to see them once they're up under the stairs because this part will go against the stair. Then using an 1/8 inch roundover bit, we'll put a nice little curve on the bottoms so that they look nice and they feel nice. So here I have all the supports. Since the last time you saw these, I've sanded them up to 220, put 2 coats of sanding sealer on them, and resanded them back to 220. Using a variety of stains and dyes, I've been doing my best to match the color of the stairs, and this is the third stick I've covered with colors trying to match it. It's just not working. So like a red door, I want these painted black. That way they'll hide in the shadows underneath the stairs. I already put the supports on the bottom stairs, but since I had to climb under the stairs, the filming would have been too hard. Now to make installation easier, because I have so many stairs to do, I made myself a nice little jig. It's just 3 simple boards nailed together, and they fit over each stair. I've got cutouts in here for clamps to go on so it doesn't move back. And the idea is that the parts with the cutouts go on top, and the support goes underneath like that, underneath the stairs like that. I've got holes drilled along this edge here to mark where I want to drill through the stairs and into the top of this. And these holes are centered on the supports. Now this jig was designed to go on from either the front or the back. That way, no matter which way I want the pocket hole screws to face, I can always get to them easily. On the lower stairs, I had the jig on the front, and I had the pocket hole screws facing backwards, so they wouldn't be seen as much. On these upper stairs, I put them on the back, with the pocket holes facing towards the front of the stairs, because fewer people will see that than they'll see the back of it. So now I have the top corner of the support pressed up against the jig, and this one's sticking out. Got a nice tight fit. So we're touching the jig back here. We're touching the bottom of the stair at the top here, and we're square to the bottom of the stair. So now I can drill in my pocket hole screws. So now I want to make sure that this stretcher is tied up against the bottom of the stair. And then we need to make sure that this corner is square. And I can put the pocket hole screws in. Now some of these stairs are a little bit thicker, so you get this bit of a gap under the front here. A little bit thicker than the other stairs. So in this case, all I'll do is just mark my holes, and then I can remove the jig. And using a 1, 2, 3 block, I'll make sure my drill bit is square or plumb here, and then go down into the support underneath the tread. Then I'll use a countersink bit and just touch these holes so the screw head goes in. Then I'll just use deck screws and drive those in. And then it's important to clean up after oneself. Now the proper thing to do here would be to sand everything down and put brand new stain and everything on there. But I'm kind of in a time crunch right now, so I'm just going with some poly shades to kind of cover up a lot of the worn off color that's on the stairs currently. So I use these pocket hole plugs, they're paint grade, to fill in the pocket holes over here. Hammer them in with a hammer and then trim them with a chisel. The difficult part is that you can't come in this way because it rips everything out. So you have to come from over here and kind of come this way or just straight up from the bottom. And then I just go and cover it all up with paint. And now you can't see it. So I got all these little corners here that are showing all along this piece of wood here. I want to chisel them out a little bit so I don't hit my head if I'm trying to get something from under the stairs here. And then I'm going to paint them black. So I bought this carpet stair covering on Amazon. It's got the front already bolted into the carpet itself, so it just sits right on and goes right up against there. There's a peel and stick part of it here, but I don't know if it's supposed to be just like static or something. It's not very sticky at all. So I plan on attaching it a bit more permanently. So this is not a pneumatic nailer or pin nailer or anything. It's actually a stapler. And it uses these interesting little staples here. These are 3/8 of an inch long by 1/4 inch wide. Just like a pin nailer, it'll shoot one out at a time. The front pad here has a little indicator on the side. I highlighted it with a silver Sharpie. That shows me right where the staple is going to come out. To staple it in, I'm going to be pulling the fabric tape here down and trying to hide the staples behind that. And then put the tape back and you won't be able to see it. The tricky part is going to be in the back. It actually kind of folds over and the tape is kind of up over here, right on the edge. So that's going to be a little bit more difficult. I may just bend it over the back and put the staple right where that thread is at, or maybe just a little below. So now I need to focus on these balusters here. They're a bit of an odd shape. They've got a flat side here and then a rounded here, but they're not a half circle. It's kind of more than a half circle. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pair of calipers. I'm going to get the width of the baluster from the flat side. So now I've set 2 clamps to hold this board up against the back of the balusters here. So I'm going to take my contour gauge. I'm going to place it right up against the flat face of the baluster here and get the exact contour that I need. Then using the little switch over here, I'm going to lock it in place. So you can see I got the nice flat part here and it goes around the very front of the curve of the baluster. So I have a pad of paper here. I'm going to get myself a nice straight line to start with. I'm going to use my calipers here and mark the width of that baluster. I'm going for this here. Then I can take my contour gauge and line this line up with one of the lines on the page. Kind of draw that contour in. So with the board clamped to this side of the baluster, I can take my contour gauge and come in this way. So now I line the front of the contour gauge up with this line here, and this will give me the back contour of that baluster there. So now I've got a nice shape to cut out. To find the spacing, rather than trying to find the center of each baluster, I'm going to measure from the one edge of each baluster. I can use a square to mark it easily. So this surface here is going to touch the ceiling. This is going to be visible down underneath as you come up the stairs. Now I've marked out all of the baluster locations on this board, and I started drilling in there with a 1 5/8 inch hole saw. Before drilling though, I cut this board into sections here because I wanted to do it before I drilled, otherwise I'd be losing that gap, the kerf of the saw blade here. I don't want to drill all the way through because this part here has a flat side on it, on that baluster side there. So now that I've got the hole saw started, I can take off the clamps and then just drill completely through on this piece here. Here's that inside piece that goes between the corner bead and the balusters. And here's the circular part of the balusters and the flat part here. And use a coping saw and cut down and across, following this curve down to the tape line, and taking the tape line across and then following the curve back up. Then I can just come in with a chisel and clean that out. Now I just gotta do all the rest. So here they are, fresh off the saw. They need a little bit of cleanup work before they go in the house, but otherwise they look pretty good. So I'm a bit concerned about attaching these to the ceiling. On the inside of the rails, up to the point where they got the corner bead, that's part of a corner there, and there should be a 2x4 that I can put a nail or a screw into, depending on how I do it. But on the outside of the rails, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to attach them. So I need some way that I can connect the outside piece with the inside piece. So I'm using this little jig that marks the center, and I can drill into it. And then I can use dowels that go in those holes and they match up, and I can suspend it by the one piece, and this piece can just be glued in. So we got everything done. We got all the carpet on the stairs and the braces put up. The braces didn't quiet everything down as much as I'd hoped they would, but they're blocking the views so my dog can get up the stairs by itself and I don't have to carry him myself. I'd like to thank Saker for sending me out this contour gauge. It came out pretty handy putting these up here at the top. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe below and the little notification bell. We got more stuff coming out. I'll see you in the next one.